Hello and welcome to this video. Today's video will be a little bit less technical than usual, but stick with me. Today we will be looking into creating a bespoke user interface for an embedded device. Now, first and foremost, you might be wondering, what on earth is a bespoke user interface? The word bespoke means the opposite of off the shelf. Historically, the word's been used in the context of suit making and tailoring. When a suit is bespoke, it has been made to the tastes, customs, and usage of an individual purchaser. By the way, this suit is an off-the-shelf suit. I'm a software engineer, not a CEO. So let's go ahead and have a look at a off-the-shelf user interface. So here you can see we have a off-the-shelf user interface, nothing too special. We have some Material 3 components here. If you're a Flutter developer, you would recognize these. And if you look here, you'll see that we did give these components here, the graph and the dials, a little bit of love and care. That's like taking your off-the-shelf suit to a tailor and having him adjust it a little so that it fits slightly better. Okay, so this is something completely different to what you just saw. Here we have the user interface for a spaceship. You can zoom around, pan, and then pick a star that you want to visit. There's also a search functionality. Let's do it like this. Pick a star. There we go. Then we set the destination. Then once it's ready to warp, we press the button and go there. Now, in this user interface, you'd really have to look closely to see anything that resembles a Material 3 component. When making a bespoke user interface, the first thing that you need to do is really spend some time to think about the end user and make sure that your first priority is the experience of the end user of the user interface. This means that during the design and development process, you have to constantly be asking questions such as, who is the end user? Will the end user appreciate this or that feature? Might this or that be confusing to the end user? And you have to spend some time making sure that the end user is considered when developing the user interface. Okay, so another thing you have to keep in mind is simplicity. I mean, take a look at this demo. Like here, we have a very intuitive and simple way of interacting with it. You can tap on stars. You can search if you like. And basically here we have only black and white. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. There are no complex sub-menus or anything like that. The way we got there was by a principle called KISS, which stands for Keep It Stupid Simple. Fantastic principle. What we had to do in this case is narrow our focus to exactly what's important. In this case, it was number one, to show off what Flutter can do, and number two, to allow the user to jump between stars. Now, there we go. Another thing you have to look into is animations. Now, in our case, we had to spend quite a bit of time making sure the animations are perfect, since, I mean, we really don't have a lot of place to hide. It's all black and white and simple geometric shapes. So first off, we have a very smooth animation when transitioning between stars. As you see, there's an acceleration. It's not a jumpy animation. And then the other thing we also did is like, we have the draw on effect and the typewriter effect. Now, if I tap there, you'll see that it draws the lines and then it types out the words. Now, this is a small detail that makes a big difference to the perception of the end user. Now we can go ahead and select destination. And then you'll see here, the UI is flashing the same as the button. It's also the same color. This is called common fate, and it's a technique that can let the user know that this button press will do something related to where we are headed. Something else to keep in mind is also the hardware limitations and the fact that animations have to run smooth. If a user interface is lagging or stuttering, that's really unpleasant to the end user. Therefore, we have to make sure that everything is silky smooth. Okay, another thing to take into consideration is the concept of iterative design. Now, with Flutter, you have things like hot reload and hot restart to your disposal. Now, when you go to a tailor, he takes your measurements and then he creates a temporary stitching and you fit the suit. Now, the reason for this is because there's no other way to really test the fit of the suit other than putting it on. The same goes for user interface. There's no other way to test out the performance and the experience of the user interface without having it running on the device and testing it out for yourself. Now, lots of back and forth between the developer and the designer and the product owner would result in a much better user interface. Let's take, for example, say you go to your tailor and you only do one fitting with the suit and you say, make it. You get the suit back and, oh dear, the one button is slightly too high. What now? You have to order an entire new suit just to get the problem fixed. Now, the same goes for user interfaces. It's still a lot of work to create the user interface, and changing things at the end of the process isn't always that simple. That's why it's much better to spend some time taking things slow, working out the design, sitting with people, maybe screaming and shouting at the designer, maybe he screams and shouts at you, and at the end you arrive at a well-polished, finely tuned user interface that's smooth, fun to use, and yeah, all out bespoke. Guys, so let's be real. Not everyone needs a bespoke user interface. But hear me out. I think that it makes a lot of sense to invest some time, money, and effort into creating awesome user interfaces. This is because, firstly, a lot of people get to reap the benefits. It's not like a suit where it's only one piece that one person can wear. There's also the added benefit of raising the bar of what user interfaces should be like. That way, many people get to win from this. So guys, there you have it for today. Tot ziens.